And there are a lot of aspects to the food thing. We've been kind of sounding that alarm for at least a year now. And some of the feedback I get is like, well, is this all doom and gloom? Is this chicken little stuff? Because I don't see a problem. And it's like, well, I mean, we're trying to get ahead of a problem. We're trying to tell you about plans that take a while to implement. Agenda 2030 is several years away. So if that's kind of like a marker for a lot of this, then yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time. But you also have a whole chapter called the Dystopian Present that's probably another one of the most concerning. Big tech working with intelligence agencies, the information industrial complex, the attack on alternative information. I've heard you make a good point in previous interviews that they can't force feed us the bug milkshakes, but they can control the information that reaches us, and they can control the perception and information around those bug milkshakes to the mainstream, and a lot of people will willingly do it. So talk to us a little bit about the important points in the Dystopian Present chapter and where tech comes into a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, so as I was working on it, and it was sort of like tech addiction, and everybody knows about tech addiction. I mean, 40 plus states across the country are suing Meta right now because it's got an intentionally addictive business model, and it's not just that you're wasting time scrolling away on Facebook or Instagram. It's that kids are becoming depressed and suicidal, and a lot of people have heard about that, and it's a serious problem. It's not getting better, it's getting worse. I mean, and then you move into like Web3 and metaverse type stuff, and the Apple Vision Pros are coming, and the Oculus hasn't really taken off with people, but just a month ago, Facebook signs a big deal with Tencent in China to mass produce these headsets, make them cheaper, make them more lightweight and more accessible to people. And it may end up, it's probably going to end up, and Apple Vision Pro will be like the really cool one. I mean, I may get one just because I like Apple products, but no, I would not recommend getting stuck into the metaverse because it is going to be very addictive. And you may find that, I think Ready Player One, if you've seen that movie, is probably the situation they're working towards, which is like, life is just so depressing and economics are just so terrible that, putting on the headset is a nice escape to get out of it. And you may live in a hovel and a dump and you don't have much going for you, but at least you've got the headset. And here's how we get there. I mean, we are full speed ahead. This isn't conspiracy theory. It's through AI, this AI revolution that's happening. And it looks cool. A lot of things look cool. I get it. You see some of the things that are coming out with AI is like, wow, this is making my job easier. And a lot of people are starting to use AI in their job. Just know you're training your replacement, and maybe you'll become a master of it, and you'll be like the checkout clerk who survives when 29 other clerks get fired, and you're the one clerk overseeing the 30 self-checkout machines, maybe. But we know that AI is going to lead to massive job losses. Just ask Sam Altman, who is the head of OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT. And so Sam Altman probably knows as much about AI as anybody. Bill Gates is right up there too. Microsoft is a major backer of ChatGPT and OpenAI. And this was really just, I mean, it just happened out of nowhere, right? Where you kind of thought, that's why I titled the chapter The Dystopian Present, is you always thought about like AI and cyborgs and, Terminators. That's like something far off in the future, right? We'll know when we get to this like dystopian reality where like the cyborgs are running our lives. No, we're there, and it's happening every single day all around you. I mean, I just saw a Microsoft article the other day about how radiologists are now obsolete. I mean, the AI, the GPT type things can now scan, and analyze x-rays a lot better than a human. And it makes sense, right? And so there was a thought like a while back that the automation revolution, the AI revolution, would take out blue collar jobs first. It's actually the inverse. It's going to take out the professional jobs first. And people who work with their hands will be safer for longer than the professional classes. Lawyers, more or less obsolete. Doctors are going to, I mean, they'll last maybe longer because people will want a human touch, but they'll last only as long as it takes for the AI to, and the doctor bots to make less mistakes than doctors. And with medical malpractice and deaths resulting from botched things like surgeries and stuff, it won't take long for the doctors to be replaced. And driving, I mean, driving is the largest employer in the country. That 6 million plus jobs in the country are basically just driving things from A to B. And auto deaths, accidents, are among the highest accidental deaths in the country. So it will only take as long as it takes for self-driving cars to get in less car accidents than humans before you'll hear Congress saying that nobody should be driving and it should all be automated driving. There's 6 to 10 million jobs there. And so you can see very quickly out of nowhere, there's going to be massive job losses. Now, what will that lead to? That will lead to, and you hear it already, demands for a universal basic income, UBI. You hear people talking about it all the time. Andrew Yang would have been the top political leader who was calling for that. And you can see the appeal, right? I mean, a lot of people, there's Reddit/r/anti-work type people who think like, oh, this will just be great. Like I'll be able to take up cooking classes or finally learn the guitar or, learn how to do watercolors and painting. And I'll just really get to explore my creativity and it will just be so wonderful when I don't have to work. That's not the case. That's not what's going to happen. It's not a coincidence that ChatGPT and OpenAI are backing the largest study into UBI ever conducted. And so Sam Altman has actually put out sort of this manifesto talking about how much UBI you will be entitled to because his company, which is now worth approximately $90 billion, it started as a nonprofit, which, I mean, I kind of get into like the whole scam of the philanthropy and nonprofit. OpenAI started as a nonprofit getting tax exempt resources. That's where we subsidize the research, we subsidize the losses. And then all of a sudden they sort of like reverse merge it into a for-profit entity. It's like one of the shadiest things that's, one of the shadiest companies and governance structures ever. But anyhow, OpenAI, privatizes all the profits. And Sam Altman says, you'll be able to get a check, a UBI check. In fact, every man, woman, and working man and woman in America will be able to get a UBI check based on how much profits AI is going to create for the control oligarchs. What will that check look like? $10,000 to between $10,000 and $15,000. And so you may think, well, that's not bad. I could live on $10,000 a month. No. That's per year. Yeah. And so we're talking about numbers like 30,000. We're talking about welfare-like numbers. So like when you hear UBI, just think poverty. I'll be in poverty. They're never going to give you like, what do you think? You're going to get $1 million a year to sit around and like play video games? Not a chance. They're not going to pay you to do that. In fact, Yuval Noah Harari, I'm sure some of the listeners here have heard of him. He basically says like you'll be useless, and this is not some far away thing. This is a couple years away. You can see the videos popping up left and right of people, mostly like sitting in their cars, kind of crying about not being able to afford insurance. And they're tragic videos. They tug at your heartstrings, and you're just going to see more and more and more of that until people demand UBI. And then in order to get your UBI, this is how they'll put in things like a digital identity. You need your digital ID, a biometric, new social security number for everybody on the planet. Sam Altman has actually already created this kind of like on the blockchain digital ID. They're all working on various forms of it. They're all working together on various forms of digital ID. And then that will be linked to your central bank digital currency. And if you think it's conspiracy theory, just go look at how much money they're pouring into it. I mean, it's a lot of money. Billions and billions of dollars are being poured into these systems that not for nothing.
Right. I mean, clearly you've done this before. That is a really great summary of all kinds of stuff. And I actually think the AI tools, the ones I've used, are pretty dumb, but they will get better. And when you couple that with the cheap labor coming over the border that they're flooding America with, I mean, those are the people who are going to get the jobs that a computer can't do. The service industry jobs, working in the kitchens, doing the lawn services. We're really going to get squeezed at both ends, the regular people. Can you believe it, people? A video clip and a peek into how that sweet THC sausage is made. For some people, I'm sure it's nice to put a face to the name, so I started making clips that are a little more YouTube friendly than the full show tends to be. Get the full show on any podcasting platform. I prefer to keep it audio only, so we have a more decentralized distribution for a controversial show, and also so I can edit out the ums and ahs and barking dogs and all the things that happen when a person records in their home environment. And then if you really like the show, You can sign up for THC Plus, and instead of 1 hour interviews, you get the full 2-hour interview for just $8. I think that's a better deal, more of a win-win than asking you to support the show by booking a therapy session or buying generic Viagra. It's getting weird out there, folks. So just go to the highersidechats.com or click the link at the top of any set of show notes, and all your wildest dreams will come true. All right? All right.
The Higherside Chats.